Benedict Matherin, though. I'll be cool with it.
There you go. There you go.
And that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
I have settled into a comfortable Ben Math situation right now.
Test 1 2. Ooh. All right, man. I'm telling you, I had stuff like written, and then Twitter just kind of took this in a completely different place. I saw the news with Jerami Grant. Yep. I saw the Benedict Matherin news, and I was just like, all right, we got to just talk about what's relevant here. You know, we've talked about everything as it relates to these prospects we think will be there, including the ones that we hope fall to us, Jabari Smith, you know, and
sneak that in there.
Hey, I got to do what I got to do. I mean, y'all see what I'm wearing here, man. The appropriately themed restoration, the restore shirt from the Pistons.
That's sweet.
You know, got to go with the classic red, white, and blue. Got to bring out all the mojo. The draft is tomorrow. And you know what we're doing on the Woodward Pistons podcast today? We're talking about it, man. We got news of Benedict Matherin. We got news about Jerami Grant.
Yep.
But first, you know, it's your boy Detroit Kool-Aid rocking out with Mr. Jeff Iafredi. I call him Mr. Everything now. It used to be the Woodward Morning Woodward alum.
Yeah.
But dog, he's doing everything. I see you getting tagged. I see you getting roses. People are hitting him up in the comments and in the replies are like, "Yo, Jeff knows basketball." And I'm like, you know
which
what?
I hope
does.
so. I hope that's the comments. I really do.
Hey, look, I keep telling these guys they're not next up. They're now. Him, Sean, you know, all the guys that we have here that are really, really serious about basketball. Even what's his name, Tyler Chavez, who's writing Pistons and such. Like, I really, really, really love everything that the team is putting in, all the work that they're putting in, and it's making it exciting. It's made it so much more exciting. I remember this time last year at the draft, Mr. Jeff Iafredi was sitting all the way at the top, man. He was like, "Man, I hope I'm here next year."
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Here we are. Now,
spoken to existence.
Let's get to the business. Want to drum this up? Hey, we always got to make sure we introduce the legend, Mr. Detroit News, Rod Beard. How are you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm doing all right. This draft is sneaking up on us now. We were talking about it was a month from now or a few weeks from now, and it is, it's right up on us now.
It's here, man. And like you heard, bro, we're excited. We're ecstatic for it. It's what it means for us. It's not a draft of who they're going to pick that's going to change the face of the franchise. This is who's going to come in and fit next to the face of the franchise,
right? Which
is Cade Cunningham. But I know that you got something. Just before we get going, you got something else going on tomorrow too, huh, Rod?
Oh.
See, here we go. We out in public spaces talking about this. I got a tennis tournament in Ann Arbor.
Let's go
tomorrow, it is. I think I've mentioned on here a couple of times that I've been trying to get back to a tournament level tennis player, and this started during the pandemic. I started to put on a little weight. Said I got to get out and exercise. Why not play tennis? And so I've been doing it.
It is
probably 3-4 times a week for the past year plus, and playing in a tournament on Thursday. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, man, definitely sending the best of well wishes, man. Anything you want to say to him?
Rod's got to be the betting favorite.
He has to be, man. We're going to have to check in with Woodward Bets, man, to see what they're saying.
Come on.
Here we go. Hey, what time is the Ypsilanti locations closing? I might have to stop by and get some cheesecake after either celebratory cheesecake or misery cheesecake.
Pick me up cheesecake, man. Definitely. Or the Briarwood one, man. But
that's
I'm
right.
I'm really hoping Rob pulls this out, man, so he can have that celebratory cheesecake though.
Oh yeah.
We got to, man. Hey, and you know what? Rod, whether you on tomorrow or not, you gotta text us at least the results. We definitely gonna talk about it.
Oh, for sure. I gotta know. I gotta know what happened.
You gotta let us know, man.
We'll talk about it. We'll slide it in next week, in between all of the draft talk and all the excitement about whatever happens.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what, man? That brings to mind sports, man. We talked about it before. I wanted to ask you guys, I don't know, you and I have talked about it before, but we didn't have Rod on. As it relates to sports, man, what's like the highest level of organized or team sports that you all have played? And it doesn't have to be league like sanctioned, like, oh, man, I played high school ball. It could be church. It could be rec. It could be this. It could be that. It could be fun. Because like me personally, basketball was a sport that, you know, in terms of leagues and such, it just took over. In terms of high school, college, and such, where I really could make a name for myself. But I absolutely loved football, man. Football and hockey. I'm talking about I had pads and everything. I was out in the street playing hockey from like sun up to sundown, bro. And I know that sounds weird.
No.
I grew up in Canton. I was literally the only black dude out there that was playing hockey, and I loved it, man. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I'm serious. I had goalie pads. I had the PVC pipe, red net. I had everything, dog. I had the chest pads, the mask, and then I had the rollerblades. This is when rollerblades were a thing. All right, see, he just dated himself with that laugh.
They're still a thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're still.
Are they? I don't really see them much.
I mean, I can't do both. I'm gonna lie to you. Like, I'm white. I'm white, and I can't skate or I can't rollerblade. So I don't think it really matters, to be honest.
But you can hoop though.
Yeah. Yep.
He makes up for it in the hoop.
Yeah, exactly. Make up for it.
I just want to ask you guys, man, because I did. I wound up playing in some leagues and did okay. It wasn't like the school leagues where these guys are really, really going, but. I just want to ask you guys and everybody else who's watching, let us know what are some things you did, whether it was like actual sanctioned leagues or just rec leagues, church leagues, fun. But Jeff, man, what are some things that you've enjoyed to play sports wise?
I played. My mom made me play every sport. She always said when I was little, like, you're going to play every sport until you pick one. Like, you're going to choose one. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. You have to at least play a sport once. So I played football, baseball, soccer. Never played hockey though, because obviously I can't skate or rollerblade.
We'll have to get this on film.
Yeah, no, I want to see me on an ice rink. I think that's content.
We're gonna go.
I would look like a deer or something, man, out there just slipping and sliding around. I went one time rollerblading with my girlfriend, and the masculinity got drained out of me because we went on the floor and she's flying around on rollerblades, and I'm holding the wall. And I'm just walking the side. I'm like,
bro,
man,
she didn't even help you around.
Oh, she was like patient, like, oh, come on. I'm slipping, man. It's just that's the ultimate confidence just ruined. Right?
See, you want to know what the other piece of that is? Go ice skating, because it is you can't fall. It's like roller skating, ice skating, rollerblading, all of those. You can't fall just from a pride standpoint.
Yeah.
But if you can't go fast or you can't go backwards, you are literally just. And you try to figure out ways to make it look cool. It's like the dancing, kind of the two-step that you're doing. And I'm going around this corner and I'm going on one skate, or I'm leaning in, or I'm bending down, or I'm doing something to make it look cool, but it's nothing too difficult. So it's just, I'm doing it, but I'm taking the cool way out, but you cannot fall. That's the hard part about trying to ice skate or do any kind of skating. If you fall, it's all over.
Yeah, and with ice skating, it's the worst. It's like, at least with like roller skating or rollerblading, you can crawl to dignity. You can crawl off the field. With ice skating, it's just like boom. Then you're like, yo, this is freezing cold.
You're on an island.
Then you're sitting there like spinning in a circle trying to get off the ice. No, it's the worst, man.
It's bad. But the thing I stuck with obviously was basketball. That was my older brother played high school basketball, one of my role models. So me and him used to play basketball all the time in the backyard, one-on-one. So I played through high school. Didn't play after that. I knew what I wanted to do. It was either coach or do sports media. And I want to do both. I still want to coach, and I coach my little brother in basketball. But yeah, I mean, I play in the summer. Obviously played high school, but it was always fun in the summer because you'd have kids that played high school basketball. You'd have kids that didn't play high school basketball all playing together at the rec league up the street. So a lot of good times, man.
Yeah. So you didn't necessarily need the validation of being in like a league. You were like playing and beating all of the hoopers anyway.
Yeah. That's the fun part.
Hey, you see how quickly his confidence is restored when we went from skating to basketball? Now he's like, yeah,
that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
I like that, man.
Just don't get me on the ice rink. Don't get me.
What basketball does for you, man.
Yeah, no, I loved it, man. It was a good escape. You get out there, you just don't think about anything else.
Yeah,
so I always love that.
Now, Rod, anything other than skating or tennis that you're a legend at, and basketball?
Of course.
No. I mean that's essentially it. I played some baseball, some. I was probably 12 or 13. Played some baseball, played shortstop, and it was something. But I mean, it was the same thing. When we were younger, you played every sport. It just depended on the season.
Mm-hmm.
When that first leaf fell off the tree, you got a football out and you were throwing it around in the neighborhood and just doing whatever. The funny thing is we played tennis in the street because we didn't have any tennis courts that were near us. Mm-hmm. So we just played, and the crack in the middle of the street was the net. So you just had to get it over and over. And we were playing with wooden rackets. Now I'm dating myself on all of this, but when I got to high school, I started taking tennis lessons, and I did play in a lot of regional tennis tournaments and a national tennis tournament down in went to DC to play in a national tennis tournament. Didn't do well, but it was a national tournament.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's big time. That's awesome, y'all. Hey, I gotta say, like from back then or whenever, hey, just congratulations to you back then. Definitely, man. It sounds like you had a good time, had a successful time. Yeah, I appreciate stuff like that, man.
Yeah, there's two things. I wake up, I want to go see. It's Cade Cunningham play basketball and it's Rod Beard play tennis. Like, can we get that?
Feel me?
Like, I want to see Rod.
Like, I was wondering. I was like, yo, Jeff, like you get this? I know that the commentators as well, the commenters. I'm telling y'all, no, it is awesome because, you know, my pops, when I was growing up, same thing. You know, he made sure that I was kind of diverse in sports, diverse in friends, diverse in school, diverse in thought, all of that type of stuff. You know, he said it changed his perspective when he actually got to the University of Michigan, coming out of Detroit and Cass Tech. He was like, man, there's really a whole world outside of Detroit. You know, not that you abandoned Detroit, but there's legitimately a whole world out there. And he told me some of the ways there is through sports. And I remember he changed up some of the schools I went to, and it was a smaller school out in Taylor. And before we kind of wrap up this section, I wanted to ask, what are some of the lessons? You know, maybe a great lesson or a good lesson, some single lesson that, you know, you learn from a coach or from a player or from experience that you could share. And for me, it was 10th grade, right before I went to public school for the first time in 11th and 12th grade. And I knew I was going to go there and play basketball. They knew I was going to go there and try out for the team and all this. And my teacher there, somebody who I'm still friends with to this day, he was a younger teacher. He was newer kind of to the profession. So I believe he might have been under 30 at the time. You know, so his perspective is he understands, all right, man, you're about to be in college within a couple years, got to get you trained up right. And I used to be very, 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 very me-centric, man. I was like, yo, I'm the best this, I'm the best that. And we went out there to play football, kind of like on like the last day of school. And he picked me on his team, which he never does. I'm like, oh, we're about to romp. And then he picked a bunch of people that get picked last. And he proceeded to legitimately have me block for them like every play or send me out wide and not throw. And we won, like, going away. And I went up to him. I remember I got so frustrated and I yelled at him. I was like, you know, teacher who shall remain nameless for this purposes. I was like, you know, I was like, utilize me. He was like, I am. You're winning the game and you're not happy about that. You're not happy for people who are getting an opportunity who haven't before. And he was like, and it was interesting because my dad, he talked to me later. He was like, you're not even the best person out there. Your teacher is. And I was like, yeah, whatever. You know, at that time I wasn't trying to hear those things, but as I got older, as I got to this next place where I didn't have, you know, the big fish in a little pond, I was instantly in a big pond and I didn't know where to go. Those types of lessons of teamwork, of valuing those around you, of putting people first, putting people before you, man, it to this day is still something that I carry with me and it kind of drives me. You know, so I just wanted to share that. You know, I didn't know if anybody else had anything they wanted to share before we got into the business of it all, but I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, we can finish with that. That's enough.
Yeah, hey. Yeah. You kind of spoke some facts there, so we'll leave it at that.
Definitely. But hey, there's some quick business here. Cory Joseph opting in. Does that mean anything?
Nah. It's a movable contract if they needed to. It's only $5 million. That they could put it in a trade very easily and put him somewhere else if they wanted to move on. But I think they need that veteran presence. And again, I keep going back to what Troy said about this team can't be all young guys. You got to have some veterans that are there. So if he ends up being your third guard because you end up drafting another point guard, cool. But I mean, yeah, you're not drafting
he's still
a point
serviceable.
Guard.
It's not like he's a third guard who'll be on the bench and you can't bring him in to do something. I feel like he'd still be a guard that would play, not just sit there and just chill.
Right.
So, and I think that bodes better. I wanted to just talk about it because I thought the timing was interesting just before the draft. So it shows that Troy is like, you know what? Even if his intention is to have Cory Joseph here, he's definitely prepared to move him if he has to move him in a draft day trade. The other item of interest before we get into kind of the draft preview again is Isaiah Thomas, who's famously named after our Isaiah Zeke Thomas. He tweeted out, breakout season next year for the killer, Dreamville 33. If you don't know who that is Isaiah Stewart, a.k.a. Beef Stew. He said, I seen it with my own eyes today. He wants to be great. And he put the checker flag on there. That to me, I've seen these guys, Saddiq Bey and Isaiah Stewart, kind of take personal how fans and media are talking about the Pistons and kind of not talking about them. We're talking about our needs or positions that they can play. Okay, Cunningham needs a Robin. I'm sure Saddiq Bey's ears perked up like, huh? Oh, we need a big man that can this or that. And I'm sure Isaiah Stewart was like, huh?
Right.
So now we hear that these guys are going out there and doing work this summer. And I just wanted to ask, what is Isaiah Stewart's arc? I know before, and I know a lot of people have gotten comfortable with saying this. I think he can come off the bench, and I've been guilty of that too. Is there more to Isaiah Stewart than we've seen? Is he somebody that can take command of a starting position on this team?
I think personally, and I've been saying this, I think he could be, if you watch the Celtics in the finals, you watch Robert Williams, and you watch a guy like that affect the game at 6'9". I mean, he has obviously better shot blocking ability, but I think Isaiah can get there. He's tough. He has a gigantic wingspan, and I think the upside with him, difference from Robert Williams, is he can develop a jump shot. Like he showed progress with it,
kind of,
but if he can be able to knock down jumpers somewhere in the 30% from three, that's value. Like a guy who can come on the floor. Like Robert Williams may not start for the Celtics, but you can make an argument he was the most important player in that series.
Yeah.
Like I think Isaiah can be something like that for the Pistons. Like whether he's starting, whether he's not, he can come in the game, and you can some nights look at Isaiah and be like, this guy can start. But then other nights you're like, maybe he's just a defensive anchor. Like he can do both. So I think he's going to be a serviceable role. Like I always look at when I watch the Celtics, man, Robert Williams, that guy, what he does for the Celtics defensively and just getting easy buckets. Like I think Isaiah can have a better offensive game, but just for Robert Williams, all he does is dunks, layups. He's not like this supreme offensive player, but he's still giving you double doubles with like.
But that's the reason why. That's the reason why I read the tweet, because Isaiah Thomas is saying breakout season. Breakout season denotes something much different than just I'm coming out here and kind of giving you a slight upgrade over last season. Now I know these guys are all working out together, so he's seeing them in what he's doing. I don't know what to expect for Isaiah Stewart next year. Right now, if I had to say anything, I would believe it's, like you said, a valuable, impactful position off the bench. Not even somebody who's just kind of serviceable, but somebody who you're depending on.
Right.
He's your first big off the bench, and he's probably coming here to inject a healthy dose of energy, toughness. The other team's going to have to think, oh, crap, this dude's going to be hitting me every time that the ball's on the rim, every single time. So, Rod, I just wanted to get your perspective on it with Isaiah Stewart. I recognize his value isn't determined by if he starts, but as it relates to this breakout word, what are we to expect with Isaiah Stewart?
I think they showed you glimpses of it, that they want him shooting from the perimeter a little bit more as part of the offense. And it might be that kind of John Beeline impact and influence, is that you want to have five out and have that big man be able to hit that three or to hit a perimeter shot when needed. If he can be, and I'm not going to say he's like Bam Adebayo, if he could play a Bam Adebayo type role, then that makes this team look completely different, that you don't have to just put him in the post and he can only be effective in the post. If he can help you from the perimeter, if he can have that type of presence and rim run sometimes, I think he gives you a different dimension, and that you can have other guys who can fill in some of the blanks there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think another value of a guy like Isaiah Stewart, again, if you look at the finals, like his versatility at 6'9", like if teams want to go small ball, Isaiah can still be in the game and make plays for you. So I think that's the value of Isaiah. Like if you let's say they sign Deandre Ayton, if there's points, which there will be, where DeAndre it looks unplayable in a game or whatever the case may be, just because of how the pace of the game, they're going small ball on you. Boom, you throw in Isaiah Stewart, even game. Like that's so I would agree with you there, talking about Isaiah Stewart, his impact being like not serviceable, but like, hey, we got to get this guy on the floor. Like I can see that, and I'm excited for the season for him.
I am too. This actually it does make me, my ears perk up just a little bit more. I think sometimes, especially when we're looking at the draft, we're looking at free agency, it's sometimes easy to shelve those players who might be kind of on the fence or on the line.
Right.
But realistically, Killian Hayes, Saddiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart, these people, these players could all take big steps forward next year, and we'd be better for it. I'm glad that the mantra is to stack talent, stack talent, stack talent. If that's the mantra coming in, then you understand that that's also in the players' heads as well. They're not under any illusion. None of them are under any illusion. It's just go out there, do work, and trust the system. And the most, we've talked about this before, the most comforting thing is that a lot of these people know Troy Weaver. They knew him before they even went to play college ball.
Right.
You know, Isaiah Stewart, Sadiq Bey, Jerami Grant, some of these guys, they've known him for a long time. So if he's telling you, trust the situation, even if you're not going to start, I like that. So Isaiah Stewart, his value, the trust that he has in the system, if there's a player that I believe is not going to be disgruntled with the role change, I think it's these guys that Troy Weaver is picking. When we say Troy's guys, one of the characteristics I think we can all look at is say they have is that they're team guys. Yeah. Did anyone see Killian Pout when he moved to the bench? Or did we see him actually play a little bit better?
Right. Embrace your role.
Embrace a role. And I felt like in the role, he was able to kind of expand in that. He looked comfortable. So, all right. I just want to talk about those two things. I just saw them, as it relates to Pistons news. Got to talk about anybody who's opting in or signing or anything of that nature, especially if it relates to potential trades and Cory Joseph. And then Beef Stew, man, look, he's going to be an essential part of this team. Just wanted to talk about that, give people that info. But
and don't forget, next week on Tuesday, the deadline for Hamidou, Frank Jackson, and Luka Garza is on Tuesday. Team options on those guys.
Hey, that's good news. That's good work. Sheesh.
So this was Cory Joseph opting in his player option, which was kind of a no-brainer unless he was going to get a better offer somewhere else. And it's hard to predict that ahead of free agency and ahead of the draft because you don't know what's going to happen. But next week, those team options after the draft, those are a little bit more important because you're looking at least in Hamidou and Frank's cases, if you're bringing in a guard in the draft, that might be one less position that's available for those guys.
Got to ask you guys, Frank or Hami?
Hami.
Yeah.
Hami?
I was just going to say it when Rod said it. I'll go with Hami.
I feel that.
Just because the athleticism. Like, he brings a lot more.
I
get, the upside, definitely.
Yep.
Like, Frank's solid, you know?
Luka Garza? You bringing him back?
I'll let Rod answer that one because I just
it's low cost. It doesn't really hurt you at all. And even if you don't bring him back on a standard deal, you can make him a G League guy and just tell him that you want to continue to develop and you just didn't have a roster spot. I think you could figure out a way to do that.
That'd probably be best.
Yeah.
Let him develop.
That's what I was going to say as well. You know, from the culture standpoint, I think Luka Garza fits. He wants to work. He went down to the Cruise, and he just does work, man. He mashes. He absolutely mashes. Shout out to Frank Garza as well. You talking about somebody who supports his son. My goodness, man. He's setting the example. He definitely is. But we got Woj. Woj was talking about on ESPN that the Pistons have had talks with the Kings about trading up to number 4 for Jaden Ivey, but that it's a steep price right now. And you know what? As soon as he said that, Rod, I thought about you because you know what you said. You said that these people didn't the Kings already try this with him? Didn't they already try this? You said it. He said this. They do this. They try Troy all the time. And you know what Woj said next? He said, but you know, we're thinking that by draft day that cost might come down. Just like you said, you know, Troy does to these people. And we saw it happen with the Kings. Yep. We heard the early reports of what it would do, what it would take to get Marvin Bagley.
Give me Sadiq.
Get out of here. Get the frick out of here.
Click.
Hang up.
But you got to look at the phone like what? Who?
Like who?
Man, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. And now I don't know what the ransom is that they want for number 4. And we talked about this. We talked about this on this pod. We said, watch them find out that the Pistons like Jaden Ivey, not have any need for Jaden Ivey, and try to extort like a Jerami Grant, a young player, a pick, or this or that. We stated all this stuff, and now the reports are coming out. They're trying to rake Pistons over the coal for Jaden Ivey.
I don't understand. Like I like Jaden Ivey, but I think I got to draw the line here. I mean, I'm not. Yeah. Why are you trading up 1 pick? And more importantly, if you do trade up 1 pick and you take Jaden Ivey, like I love Troy Weaver, but he better be an all-star. Yeah, he better be a damn good player. Like if he's not, you traded up 1 spot for a guy that if you settle for, let's say Ben Matherin becomes a damn good player, well, then there you go. You could have had Ben Matherin. Like, I just don't like the idea of trading up one spot. And I get New York. Yeah. If the New York, like, if they're at 10 or 11, you feel like you're going to miss on some players. I get that. But at 5, like, if you like a couple players, you like a couple players. Like, unless you think Jaden Ivey, and maybe Troy Weaver does, thinks he's head and shoulders above everybody else, I could see why you'd inquire. You'd call Sacramento, but you know what Sacramento's going to do. I mean, come on, you know what they're going to say. Give me 3 first-round picks and Killian Hayes or some ridiculous offer. I mean,
what have we said this entire time? That Sacramento is that wild card that they could mess up the draft. They could do something stupid. They could, or not even something stupid, just something that you're just like.
Just something Kings like.
Okay, whatever. I mean, that's what you want. You want Dyson Daniels at 4? Okay, well, knock yourself out with that. We'll proceed as we were going to do. But that's, it's not surprising. But unless they're asking whatever they're asking for in addition to the 5 pick, it has to get down to like a bag of Skittles for me to say I'm trading up one pick. Yeah. If you want to take Jaden Ivey, you take Jaden Ivey, and we'll do what we need to do after that. And that's kind of the mocking that you have to do, is going through this and says, but that's what everybody thinks right now, is that Ivey's going 4. So the Pistons already have this scenario figured out of what to do if they pick him at 4. Okay, well, we're going to pick this guy. Yep. So if they don't, then, and they like Ivey that much, then that tells you something different. But yeah, I don't think they're worried about that. And again, I'll go back to what Stan Van Gundy said. And this has stuck with me ever since he said it. Having conversations about it means we picked up the phone. We said, hey, are you interested? Or what is it going to take to get the 4 pick? And you say, blah, 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 blah. Hey, no thanks. Boom. We've had a conversation and we've discussed having the number 4 pick. And I think at the time he said it was whoever they got in the second round, Michael Benedict. They said Michael Benedict for LeBron. If you call the Cavs and say, we'll give you Michael Benedict for LeBron, you've had a discussion about trading for LeBron. It's just not in any kind of form of reality at all.
No, that's
just face, dog. You got him with that one, Rod.
I was like, imagine, dude, that'd be a trade Stan Van. If Stan Van Gundy was working for the Cavs, he would accept that trade. But I will say this.
No. Stan did not lose trades. Stan did. He
was
didn't draft
drafts.
well.
It was drafts.
He didn't lose trades. If you get Reggie Bullock and Marcus Morris for a bag of balls, you did something.
That's true. That is true.
It's true. He was working the trades. I'm not going to blame him.
It was a draft in some of the ways that the contracts were handed out, but we also understand that wasn't all on him. So
yeah, right. He should have never been had that job to begin with. So like, just in terms of being the GM, like that should have never been a thing. But with Jaden Ivey though, specifically, like with the Sacramento Kings at 4, I love that Troy Weaver. If you identify a player you absolutely love. And this is what I applauded the Lions doing with Jamison Williams. Like, you go get that player. So I don't fault them for having the conversation, calling up Sacramento. Right. It's just, man, it's really the Knicks I'm the most mad at as a Pistons fan. Because who are you? They're offered, what was it, multiple first-round picks? I'm like, damn. I mean, if you're the Kings, though, are you willing to trade back that far knowing that you're not going to have Keegan Murray?
The reason why I don't think the Kings are going to trade with the Knicks is because of the second part of what Woj said. And it was as it relates to 2 different things. One, the Pistons are very comfortable taking this player that we're going to talk about next. That's Benedict Matherin. He said they are very comfortable taking him. And 2, if the Kings were playing ball with the Knicks, why are there reports that the Knicks, obviously I know they call everybody, but they're saying the Knicks are calling the Pistons about number 5 as well, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that means something.
That means that, hey, I know everyone's kicking the tires. I know everybody's talking. I know Troy said, I make however many trades I need to make the Pistons better. So it's going to be an exciting time. I can't wait for the draft show tomorrow. Definitely tune in, starting at 7:30 on Woodward Sports.
This is what I hate, though. This is the time of this team has had discussions. This team's looked out. And Jeff, if you DM'd somebody and you said, hey, who's your dream celebrity crush, sort of whatever.
If you said, wait, are you asking me a question?
Yeah, who's your dream celebrity person?
Man, that's a tough one. You put me on the spot. I got a couple. Maybe, I got a couple. For a while, it was what's that chick? Verlander's girlfriend.
Oh, Kate Upton.
Kate Upton was kind of like my, I guess, celebrity crush for like a while.
Okay, so let's see. We'll take you out of
fast. I hope my wife don't watch this episode.
Rod's getting us in trouble.
I caught that. So I'll even take you out of it. I'll say when Spike Ulbrich reached out to and DM'd or tagged Kate Upton in a tweet.
Yep.
They've had discussions. He reached out about having a date.
Sources say.
Sources say. So I mean that's what some of these discussion things sort of are, and this is the worst time of season because it's like, yes, if you're the Knicks, you're calling everybody. You're calling the Magic. You're calling the Thunder. You're calling the Pistons. But does it really mean anything? And who's leaking this stuff out? It's not the Pistons. The Pistons aren't saying, hey, the Knicks reached out to us to blah blah blah. It's the Knicks. The Knicks are saying they've reached out to all of these people to show their fans they're trying to move up. So you have to look at anytime you hear a rumor like this, it's the motivation. Who has the motivation and what are they trying to gain? And that'll tell you who leaked it. Yeah. And if you know who leaked it, you know whether there's anything to it or not.
I almost feel like Troy called the Knicks just so that they would leak it. Like smokescreen season.
He's like 2 steps ahead.
Troy's like, I'm calling everybody. No one's gonna know what we're doing.
Didn't Troy also say it? This isn't like anything. Like, this isn't like this is a common thing among general managers. But Troy was talking about like scenarios. He's ready for like 8 different scenarios at this press conference. Like he's ready for. I'm sure he's ready for if Jaden's gone. He's ready for if Jaden's there. He's ready for. You know what I mean? Like so. If there's a GM you want, driving the boat, it's definitely Troy Weaver.
Yep. And in these trade scenarios, like I said, again, I got to commend Rod on this. He said it best. Troy will stare these GMs down and get what he wants. He knows what he wants. It's not what they have.
Do what you're gonna do. You want this dude? All right, cool. We're happy taking this other guy that we have high on our board too. So, but we're not going to give you this other asset that you want, unless it's some Skittles. If you want some Skittles, we got a whole box of Skittles. You're not getting Killian or you're not getting deep. Taste the rainbow.
Definitely.
And I'm happy you didn't do that last year, though.
Hey, what up, Fish? Man, we got to get that camera set up one episode just so people can understand what our view is.
Yeah, but, just what we see on a daily basis.
Yeah, man, we get messed with so much, but yeah, y'all gonna see one day. We're gonna get them. But this player right here is the reason why we said it. Benedict Matherin, Woj said, as well as Sam Vecini from The Athletic. Now, we got 2 of the major outlets stating that the Pistons have some really, really, really serious rumored interest in Benedict Matherin if he's available at 5. Now, I remember before we were saying we're okay with him at 7, but as we kind of went into the deep dive and we started talking about what type of player he is, we recognized that he is a unique combination of athleticism, explosion, and shooting.
Yeah.
And we loved his confidence on the court as it relates to leading. We recognize as the Pac-12 player of the year, he did not have good spacing to work in, and his team wasn't necessarily the best. Obviously, with the Pistons, a lot of his strengths plug in directly next to Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, and the rest of this team. And I take him as a team-first guy who that won't kill his killer instinct. There's some guys who, when they come into a situation like this, they don't have what Sadiq Bey has. That, no Cade's here, but I'm still going to find a way to get mine.
Right.
And it not from a selfish standpoint, but
he's a dog.
He's a dog. He recognizes there's going to be 2 or 3 dogs on every team. I'm one of them. You know what I mean? And I kind of get that out of Benedict Matherin. I don't know if I'm just talking myself up into it because of the pick, but when we went through it, and you guys go back, listen to the pod, and let us know what you think of Benedict Matherin at 5 rather than at 7. He's climbing up everybody's draft boards, and it's because of the fact that they're not saying he's better athletically or explosively than Jaden Ivey. They're not saying that he shoots better than Keegan Murray, but they're saying that he has a unique combination of both those things, but both of these guys kind of excel in, and he does it at a good enough level that he could present, if he develops properly, some really, really good things, some star potential at the next level. So I want to get you guys, again, Benedict Matherin, at 5. Are you comfortable? What are you seeing? Is there anything different since we've talked about him?
And quickly before I give it to Rod, I just want to say, like, with Benedict Matherin, he excites me. I would put him, for me, if I had to do like a top 3 who I'm prepared for at 5, it'd probably go Jaden Ivey, Benedict Matherin, then Keegan Murray, just because you're getting a guy in Benedict Matherin that is highly competitive. You talked about it, has that dog in him. But I would argue he's the best fit next to Cade. Like, I think out of all these guys, because he can be a guy who can sit in the corner and catch and shoot. very efficient. He did it his first year at Arizona. He shot 40%. His second
Especially
year,
from the corners.
a lot of his shots came off the dribble. So second year, if you look at that efficiency, it was like 37%, whatever it is, but it's much higher. Honestly, he's a great shooter. That's number one. But number two, I have a problem with people saying they would take him at 7, but not take him at 5. Like, if you like a guy, you're taking him at 5. Like, the 2 spots does not matter to me. If you think he's that great, you take him. And another thing is his just defensive intensity. Like, for being a 6'6" 2 guard, he can play wing as well. A guy who can handle the ball, like you pointed out, did a lot of it in his second year. There's a lot of upside there, and I think there's more playmaking upside. He has the 3-point shot than Keegan Murray. Like, I think Keegan Murray, he can knock down shots, but he hasn't shown me that ability to make others better. And I'm always looking for a guy last year with the Pistons. When Cade was off the floor, it was a disaster. Like, the offensive efficiency, you cannot produce offense. If you have Benedict Matherin rather than Keegan Murray, I have confidence that Jaden Ivey would obviously be number 1 because he's a point guard. But with Benedict Matherin, I'd have confidence that he'd at least be able to run the offense, and you have a guy who can score. Even if you have Killian Hayes out there, he could still play with Killian Hayes. I mean, Benedict Matherin's that dude. So he excites me. He really does.
Yeah. I mean, between he and Keegan Murray and Jaden Ivey, I think, hey, Mr. Spence, Big Spence. Hey, we got to get that camera. But yeah, I believe that I have that same kind of power ranking. I kind of battle back and forth. I cannot put Shaedon Sharpe ahead of any of those guys.
No,
I can't.
And listen, I'm a realist.
Who?
I can't.
Man, no, Rod, you'll know.
Is good.
You'll know, Rod.
Listen, I have accepted that we're not getting Jabari Smith. He's accepted that we cannot draft Shaedon Sharpe at number 5.
No, it ain't
so
happening.
This is our therapy, Rod.
There we go.
This is our therapy.
There we go.
I'm getting cool.
There we go.
Collected too. I got the shades on, man. I got the Woodward Sports buffs on. Now, I'm trying to channel my inner Troy Weaver. That press conference, man. Didn't he just look cool?
Yeah.
He's just sitting there like, huh.
That's got to be planned,
Always.
man.
Always.
But, Rod, I want to get your take on Benedict Matherin at number 5. And, what you think he's going to be as a player here at the next level. I know as we've all gotten a little bit more time to dive into the film and dive into who he is as a player, hearing the things that we're hearing about the combine, his workouts and all of that.
Right.
How are you feeling about Benedict Matherin?
I'm warming to the idea, and the closer that we're getting to the draft, I'm thinking that I like him maybe more than I do Jaden Ivey, and that could be blasphemy or heresy to some people. But I like the shooting. If you give me similar, or not even similar, you give me something okay in terms of athleticism, but you give me the shooting. How many times have we talked about shooting being the thing that this team needs? And when Frank Jackson was shooting well, when Sadiq is shooting well, the difference that it makes. What's a Dwayne Casey guy? A shooter. But he can get to the rim and he can create his own shot. I think that's what I like about him. And just the ability defensively, I think he's got some stuff there, some chops. So Jeff hit it also by saying you could take him at 7, but you wouldn't take him at 5. For those people who say that, what happens when you say, okay, Pistons have 5 and 7. They take Murray at 5. Well, another team trades with Indiana at 6, jumps in and get Matherin. Well, what are you doing at 7 at that point? Well, you can talk me into Shaedon Sharpe at 7. You can talk me into it. I don't like it, but you can. But if my guy was Matherin the entire time, you take him wherever he is. If that's really the guy you want, you don't mess around with it and you take them unless you feel like you can get value by trading down and you have a backup plan like that. That's the only way that scenario works.
And you raise a really, really good scenario here, because if the question is a couple players, 5 and 7, I would rather have Matherin and Sharpe, just me personally, just the way that things are going. If Ivey's gone, I personally would rather have Matherin and Sharpe over Keegan and Sharpe. Personally, like if somebody, like you said, if we took Keegan Murray, someone snuck in and took Matherin, then you're talking yourself into something that's a little less sure than what you have if you're going ahead and know, you know what, Benedict Matherin is kind of filling this void or adding to what we do or don't have at shooting.
Right.
And what I really like is this. The thing that's hurting Jaime is this. When his shot is going, you see how much more it sets up his athleticism. In the NBA, it's not necessarily that the athleticism gives you the room to shoot. It's the fact that when you can shoot, and you can play as athletically as a Benedict Matherin, it opens up the entire floor for you. Then all of a sudden a pump fake or a hezzy becomes a massive amount of space opened up for you because they have to respect every aspect of your game. And that's what intrigues me about him. I know Jaden Ivey showed the propensity to shoot too. But Rod, you got to go back to you said that you're kind of warming up to Benedict Matherin over Jaden Ivey potentially.
Yeah, if you're going by shooting and you're telling me shooting is the differentiator between these two, and you're drafting for need at that point, then I mean 36% for Jaden is something, but you can't discount that 26% as a freshman. That I mean, is that 36%
the
real?
last 10 games of the season as well.
Right. Is he a streaky shooter or is he a dude who can shoot? And if you're shooting at 40%, there's no mistake there. There's no error. You're a shooter. If you put a 40% up there, that's what you are. So I think that's the difference for me, is that you don't have to worry about you're trading up to get Ivey and you're giving away other assets in order to do that. If Matherin is there and by all accounts he's going to be there and that's your guy, then you rock with that and just live with it.
And Matherin's going to give even Cade more space on the floor. Like there's things about, especially Ben, like you're always going to have to account for him, even when a shot's not falling, because you know it'll go in. Like there's some guys you can kind of sag off and be like, all right, he's not a great shooter. Maybe we can gamble. Like Ben is going to be a guy who you have to account for. And I think another thing I always say too is, who are you when your shot's not falling? I know I'm getting someone who's 6'6", athletic, and can switch on multiple guys, even if he's not hitting shots. So to Rod's point,
right.
Yeah, you go after shooting, but all the things he brings, even when he's not shooting well. And also, like, I can't fault anybody, and it's crazy, Pistons Twitter, I got to call him out, because if anybody disagrees
call him out, man.
with the general, like if Jaden Ivey's the consensus and someone pulls up and says, well, I like this person, how dare you?
Yeah, but it's like the mob mentality.
How dare you?
Boy, they show up with the pitchforks and the torches and everything.
That's what frustrates me the most, because if you look at Ben, he's bigger. He's a better shooter. You could argue he's just as, everything if not more athletic. Like, how can you not, like, and they're both sophomores. So you're going to pull, like, one's younger. No, they're both the same age. Yeah. So to Rod's point, I can't fault him, man. He's so close, him and Ivey, to me. Keegan Murray, I'm okay with. That's the pick that I'm like, okay. I'm not, if it's Ben or Jaden, I'm like, okay. Now we got two guys that I think that can really take that next step, become those guys.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Right.
I believe oh, go ahead, Rod. Definitely.
No, if you tell me what the Jerami Grant decision is, and if you're trading him, because the other thing that I've read out there is Miami's into it now, and if you can get
take us into this Duncan, next section. That's where we're going next. If
you can, and I gotta run. So, let me get this in here. Yep. If you can get Duncan Robinson and Max Strus from Miami for Jerami, you can throw the number 7 pick out the window. You give me Duncan Robinson and Max Strus, proven cats that can hit,
that can shoot
from outside. Yeah, exactly. You give me that, and I don't need the number 7 pick from Portland. I will take those two guys, and I will figure it out.
Yep. Yeah. Hey, man, that's some knowledge. That's some heat. Look how in sync we are too. I was just about to get into this thing, the report to Jerami Grant and the 3
Rod just gave us an alley-oop before he left.
Yeah,
little alley-oop.
Gave you an alley-oop, and I'm gonna do like Steph. I'm gonna just run down the court the other way, because I'm gonna just lob it up and then I can just run the other way. Look the other way.
Dog, what a legend. Dog.
I know.
Let us just drum this out, man, for him. Hey,
appreciate you, Rod.
Appreciate you, bro.
Anytime, fellas.
Yes,
we'll
sir,
see you.
Man. Have a good day. Be blessed.
You too.
Yeah, he makes a great point. And that's why I never fault. It's not even just Rod. I've heard that from a lot of people, too, favoring Benedict over. I know somebody, the guy Mike, who I do Jeff and Gentry show with. I love Mike.
Hey, plug it first. Plug the show.
Check out Jeff and Gentry, by the way. Jeff and Gentry, look it up on YouTube. It's a part of Woodward now, the Jeff and Gentry show. Me and Mike talk about all sports, but Mike is one guy. When we talk about the NBA draft, he's always been talking about Benedict Matherin. So, and I'm never going to sit here and argue with him. The only people I want to argue with is if you try to, I guess to put it bluntly, like crap on another prospect. I hate those guys. Like if I'm a Shaden Sharp guy, let's say, I'm not going to sit here and be like, don't take this or don't take that guy. Like
you can appreciate the other prospects.
Bingo. So Benedict is definitely in that conversation, but Jerami, I think that's the puzzle. Mm-hmm. That's the domino that needs to fall, because if you have 2 first-round picks, especially in the top 10, or if you get Atlanta and you're somewhere in the teens, it makes it a lot more interesting.
Man. It's getting exciting. It's getting exciting, dude.
Stay away.
I'm sitting like, yo, let's rock, because there's so much that can happen. Like, that's why I wanted to bring up some of the things we did. Isaiah Stewart early on, Cory Joseph early on, because it all plays into what the Pistons are going to do.
Right.
Cory Joseph does become something that if a trade goes down and any filler, a throw in, or a good team is looking for that third veteran guard to come off the bench or to stabilize things in the playoffs, I bet you Miami would have liked to have Cory Joseph.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Better than, but Gabe Vincent was out there starting games.
Yeah, bro. Yeah. When Kyle Lowry went out, I bet you they would have liked to have his previous backup.
You know absolutely, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Kendrick
Veteran presence who can come in and at least stabilize things for a little bit. We're not saying he's a world beater, but opting in right now means that Troy probably looked at him and said, do it now. What did he say? Didn't Troy say?
Yeah.
He don't, bro. If he's not leaving the chamber empty, we know that he's loading the thing all the way up.
Oh, absolutely.
He ain't leaving like one out there. He's like, you know what? Nah, Cory, get in there. Get in there. All right, now I can go in and unload the chamber if I have to. You know, and that's what I love about Troy is that he's like, I'll be as aggressive as I need. I'll do as many trades as I need. I'll stretch as many deals as I need. These are things that previously you only saw in 2K or the process with Philly. Yeah. You didn't see this type of stuff. We kept sitting here like, oh, we signed a player. Oh, cool. Wait, oh, dang, they waived him already.
Yeah,
like 2
we
hours
weren't
later.
used to it.
We're not used
I thought Tony Bradley was going to play for us. Like, I didn't know.
I thought Jalen Hands was about to be like in the system. I was like, yeah, let's rock.
Yeah, Jalen Hands too.
Man, I did a graphic for it too for socials. And
get you all
excited. I was like, then I had to do it. Oh, they waived him.
And that's what I respect too about Troy, man. Like he's making deals and he's aggressive and he doesn't want to waste time and he knows how to talk to other general managers. He has great relationships with players. So that's why in free agency, we talk about the draft, but just in free agency, like you talk about players that know Troy Weaver. What about the players that want to get contracts that know Troy Weaver? Like, it's tough.
And the Pistons are not barren. This is not a position now where it's like, oh my goodness, I don't want to go there. Woj said on that ESPN report one thing that I thought was very key. He said the Pistons are in a great position moving forward, and that players and teams know that.
Yeah.
They know that. He said, you look at what Troy Weaver has done here in such a short amount of time with cap space, with good young players, with right now Jerami Grant, who either serves as an attractive piece as a veteran to other players that want to come in, or they know he's an attractive piece that can bring in more for this team. The Pistons are one of the most attractively, I believe, rebuilding teams. We can't say up-and-coming teams because they haven't won over 30 or 40 games yet. But as it relates to restoring, rebuilding, that's a team that if you join it now, you can be a part of that 35, 40 wins next season. I do believe that. I believe this team is, depending on what Troy does, which I believe is going to be a lot of mayhem.
Oh, yeah.
This team is going to be, we're not going to be sitting here saying, oh, yeah, you know what? Give them time to jail. Give them time to this. Nope. Come in and be that team. We believe Cade is that guy. We're talking about, is he going to be potentially an all-star next year? And I don't mean an all-star like freaking, he goes, sneak in like LaMelo. I want our guy to be that deal.
Right.
I want him that, like we saw, he's a different grade of player, different cut. So
and it was funny too. If you follow Ashton, I know you do, but anyone watching this, follow Ashton. He tweets out, he's like, I'm playing with C2 out on the court. He's making me better. Yeah, and he's like, it's crazy. He's making me look like an NBA player. So it's crazy to see. He's working out with KD a week ago, I think, working out with Kevin Durant.
Yep.
Like players, he just attracts guys, man. And I've never seen Pistons Twitter post about a free agent like Kevin Durant, like they actually believe that we're going to get Kevin Durant. Like, have you ever seen that? That's what I'm saying. Have you ever seen that type of hope and excitement? Like years prior, there's no way you're getting free agents like that, but there's actually a thought like, hey, we might get Kevin Durant. It's because of Cade Cunningham.
And bro, it's like, I know that on this pod, we wanted to focus on the draft. I think the player that we're all warming up to, if Ivey definitely isn't there, is Benedict Matherin. So I think we've put that to rest. We're talking about a little bit of Jerami Grant. And as well as some free agency. There's just a couple names that are kind of creeping up here. One of them is Bradley Beal, who they're saying may decline his option to become a free agent. And that's a shooting guard who Piston fans have loved for a long time.
Yeah.
Knockdown shooter. I mean, you're talking about somebody who would be coming to a situation where he would be rejuvenated, not coming to a situation that he knows is dead on arrival.
It's a breath of fresh air for him.
A breath of fresh air. But another player that has been linked to potentially not being back with his team is Zach Levine. Another athletic, high-powered, high-scoring, guard that I believe would fit well next to Cade Cunningham. You know, the Pistons are rumored to be going after several different restricted free agents. And, you know, I think they said that the top of them would be Ayton and Miles Bridges. But do you think that Bradley Beal and Zach Levine are worth taking a look at over either one of those two?
I've always said, man, you got to go and get, if you're going to spend max money, you got to get the big fish. And I think Bradley Beal and Zach Levine are those big fish. I think Deandre Ayton, I would qualify him as in that category just because of what he brings. You know, Bradley Beal's one of the best shooting guards in the league. Like, this is a guy I respect. Now, my only concern...
And he's respected in this league. Yes. He's not trying to earn it. He's
respected.
Right,
very respected. Yeah, and that's why I think it was reported that he's been contacted by so many people around the league recruiting him. Like I'm sure many contenders are like, hey, man, we can do big things here. So that's why a part of me doesn't think it's going to happen just because he's
ready to win.
He's ready to win. He's too damn good, and he'll have a place anywhere in the league. Zach Levine is the one I struggle with because I love Zach Levine. He just can't stay healthy. And that's my only issue with Zach. He's coming off a microscopic knee surgery. He's only played like the last plethora of seasons, multiple seasons. He's played like around 50 to 60 games. Like I don't want to pay a guy $30-35 million annually if you're giving me 50, 60 games. Like, I respect it, but come postseason, Zach Levine, he was struggling out there for the Bulls. Like, he wasn't there, and when he was there, he wasn't playing well. So that's my only concern with Zach Levine. I think if I had to give max money to any of these guys, it would be Bradley Beal. Yeah. But I just don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, it's not even the money that's going to get him. It's not even about a bidding war. It's more or less about what his priorities are, and that's trying to win a championship. I believe if the Pistons were in a position to win the championship, they would probably win that sweepstakes. But because they're at a position where they're trying to compete for a playoff spot next year, you know, who knows? It's going to be tough. But
Miles Bridges,
you never know.
Miles Bridges, though, hell to the no, please. I don't want Miles Bridges.
Say it one more time.
Double cup Miles Bridges. I don't want double cup with the joint in his hand. And listen, I'm not going to hate on a guy for doing whatever he does in his free time, but like, he's a rapper now, and we've had guys, you know, with Detroit Pistons that want to become rappers and end up
about one of them,
living that life.
We're gonna talk about one of them.
But I want hoopers. Like, this team has all hoopers. Marvin Bagley's a rapper, so it's not nothing to do with that. It's really just about your commitment to the game. And I get he got it tremendously better this year, so clearly he's getting better. But Cade, Sadiq, like Isaiah, like these are basketball junkies.
That's our word on this show. Y'all are going to continue to hear that word. It's hoopers. Hoopers. Man. Those are Troy's guys.
Absolutely. So I think when I look at the Hornets, if they're hesitating to match Miles Bridges, any offer, they reported Hornets are hesitant to match any offer, you know, a max deal that Miles Bridges receives. Why? Yeah. Why are you hesitant? The Hornets who have signed, there's been so many bad contracts on the Hornets, and you're hesitant now?
Hey, yo, meanwhile, Phoenix is not hesitant.
No.
They're willing to move on, but they're like, we're getting full value, and we are willing to re-sign him to his max value.
And they're willing to trade Cam Johnson just to clear up cap space to give more money to him. Deandre Ayton. Like, the Hornets are like, nah,
they're
we're
like,
good.
nah. Yeah, that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
What?
Big one.
Listen, y'all, the shirts are coming soon. Woodward Pistons logo is going to be on this side, and on the middle, it's just going to be Jeff Knows Ball. Yeah. That's it. That's it. I'm serious, because he does. I told him that, man. I remember when we were planning this podcast, we were planning what we were going to do with Pistons coverage here. One, you know, I'm glad with where we landed. I'm glad with all that we have. Sean and Jeff have been two people that have made Pistons coverage exciting here. Really, really exciting.
It makes me happy, man.
Yay.
I'm out here working. I love it.
He's grinding, man. He's working. I like it, man. I like it. I wanted to talk about some other free agents because obviously whatever happens with Jerami Grant, that's the big domino.
Yep.
What happens in the draft, that's obviously going to play a big part in what we do. Before we get to big men that are free agents, they were talking about what Bobby Portis just declined his player option, just under $5 million.
I think that's one of those deals where he wants to get paid more. Like, and I think it might be in Milwaukee again. Like, you got to think, like, he knows his value. What, he shoot 40% from three as a big man?
It took a hit after he got after that incident in Chicago.
Right.
We got into that.
Exactly. So he had to prove himself. Now he's been playing damn well for the Bucks. They want to re-sign him. And if I'm Bobby Portis, I'm declining it too because I know I can make more money than that. I don't think he'll come to the Pistons. I think he wants to win. I mean, these are players that are older. Not that he's old, but he's a veteran in the league, I guess you could say now. And that's his number one priority, I would assume. So if I had to predict,
agreed, bro.
He's going back to the Bucks, getting paid a little more change, which he deserves. But if you're talking about fit, man, Bobby Portis in Detroit, more floor spacing, so you can't beat that.
And if there was a way, I do believe that the Pistons should at least kick the tires on it.
Absolutely.
Because they do present some interesting things for a player like him who maybe he can give another year or two. You know, obviously he's not the caliber player that Bradley Beal is. Maybe there's an appeal. Obviously, it would be a lot more than $5 million.
And you got Kelly Olynyk, which I would take Bobby over Kelly Olynyk. So I'm sorry, Kelly.
I like Kelly as a person. Got to meet him.
Cool, man.
But you're right. We're talking business. Yeah, Bobby Portis. And it's for these reasons. I love toughness. I love his toughness. I love his grit. I love the fact that I hated playing against him. I hate it when the Pistons. I mean, when the Pistons would play against him, I hated it because I'm like, yo, he's either gonna hurt one of us or get one of us like thrown out the game.
He's got that Detroit. He plays with that type of mentality.
If he's on our squad, it's like, bro, just send him and beef stew out there. Just wreak havoc. Absolutely wreak havoc, man. Like I don't know. I do agree with you, though. I believe the prospects of us getting him are slim, but by him declining the option and at least flirting with a couple teams. Call him. Flirt with him.
Make the phone call.
But, yo, big man, there's a lot of people out there saying that Deandre Ayton might not be worth it when you got guys like Mitchell Robinson, Mo Bamba, and I've even heard who's getting really, really popular now, Andre Drummond, because of his valuation. Andre Drummond at $25 million was a player that nobody wanted, not even me, and I was a huge supporter. I was glad he got paid. I think at the end of that 25, it wound up creeping up to what, $27.8 million a year.
Yeah, it gradually went a little bit up.
Yeah, so we all knew he wasn't worth it, but like Rod told us, it was the situation when they chose Andre Drummond over Greg Monroe, just the way that they slotted him, those contracts, you pay those guys those max, especially with he had just gotten with All-NBA, playoffs, All-Star. He was
a big-time player in a city that didn't have a really big-time player in a long time, so he deserved the contract, man.
He deserved it, and we get that. But now, I've heard things like Mitchell Robinson might command $10, $11 million. I've heard things like Mo Bamba might command something where between $8 and $13 million a year. I've heard Andre Drummond $7 to $8 million a year.
I'll take that,
bro.
I'll sign Andre Drummond 7 days out of 7 days a week. Bro,
I was sitting here like, what? I don't know what I have to look at it some more. I'm going to try and look around because he's a player that I would not mind having back, but I just assumed the tag was going to be like Clint Capella, $15 million type, $17 million a year type of thing. Right. Bring him down off that $27 million perch. But if he can be had at under $10 million a year.
For a guy who can get walking double-double.
Yeah, you heard his interview that he did, right? Where he was talking about Detroit?
Yep.
He said that Detroit changed and saved his life. He said that the best, shout out Andre Drummond, bro, the Big Penguin. He said it because this is what you want to see out of players like him. You want to see if people can mature. You really can. And I got to talk about the guys that I like. I'm not against anybody else. If we can get Deandre Ayton, that's the play.
Right.
You got to go there. But when I look at what Andre Drummond, what we know he can do, you talking about that $7 million, that's a better deal than if we had to sign potentially, I don't know, is that a better deal than Bagley at 12?
Well, I think you're getting better value. Like, I mean, Marvin Bagley's good, but if you're paying him, 11 to 14 million, whatever it is, I'd rather pay Drummond like 8 to 9 for what he brings, like his presence, what we were lacking last year. And another thing,
he said he misses it, man.
Dude, that's what I appreciate too about Drummond. Like all the BS that happened while he was playing here, the fans, like he never, even towards the end, I think he just loved being here. It's a city that drafted him. Like any player has that connection to a city that drafts you, especially if you had great moments there, which he did. I remember when this is one of my worst takes of all time, and I'll admit this. It's a funny story actually.
Let's hear it,
when they traded for Blake Griffin.
Ooh, let's go.
I talked about them being because at the time Cousins and AD were up front court.
Yeah.
So I thought my head.
You weren't wrong in your thinking.
I didn't say they were. No, before you assume, I didn't say they were better than them. But I said you got Cousins and AD, but not far behind them.
Like the Dollar General version.
Yeah, like diet. So, but unless that's the respect I have for Andre Drummond, I would take him. I think the Mitchell Robinson thing is interesting because I like Mitchell Robinson, but the reports I'm seeing, and I don't know if they're fake or not. The price?
I can't do it.
I saw like $18.9 million, and I thought to myself,
that's what I thought Drummond was going to be getting.
I would pay you could argue Drummond might be worth something like that, around that price
but they're
tag.
almost
Mitchell,
like flip-flops
like,
in terms of what they're talking about getting.
Mitchell's giving you he's giving you like 2 blocks a game, which is great, but he's like 8 and 8. Like he's 8 and 8. Like he's not even like a walk and double. Like Andre's going to give you 12 and 12 like that. Like he can get, if you play him 30 minutes, he can get you 15 and 15. Like
Dre and Killian didn't play together, huh?
Is that the year right after?
That's the year after, because Drummond didn't play with.
Yeah, no, he didn't have a pick and roll guy like that.
He didn't.
I wouldn't mind him, man. Cade
and Killian.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
As long as Andre leaves his ego at the door, which I think he has. I think he's matured a lot more coming into this culture. Like you'd have to sit him down and be like, listen, it's their team. It is now. Yeah, it's their team. Like you're going in, you're gonna have to fit with Cade, with Sadiq, and all these guys. If he does it, man, hell yes.
I would do it at that under 10M.
Hell yes.
Andre Drummond would be my guy over Mitchell Robinson.
I think you can even argue 10 million.
Mo Bamba is the interesting one because how he can space the floor.
That's true. And he's young. He fits the timeline, too.
And he's young. That is the interesting one. I don't know what his price tag would be. People were saying at first when we weren't even thinking about Mo Bamba, and just a few people were in the comments talking about it. I was looking at the free agency reports. His numbers were like 8 to 12 million. I don't know what his numbers are going to be this summer as a floor spacing big. I don't know what that number is going to hit. If he creeps up there into that Mitchell Robinson reported numbers, I don't think I can. I mean, I don't know. He's a floor spacing big.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm kind of like,
especially today's NBA. You need guys like that.
Yeah, because what we do know is this: Andre Drummond is not going to space the floor, no matter how hard he tries. We love him. He's not going to do it. He's not showing the propensity that Isaiah Stewart has shown. Isaiah Stewart improved quickly and showed it in games. Maybe not to the efficiency that you want to see coming this season, but we can tell he has it.
Right.
Andre Drummond, he is good at what he does. If he sticks to what he does, and off the bench, you can manage that, especially in spurts when you know I need to get the next 2 or 3 defensive rebounds and maybe 1 or 2 offensive rebounds. Go, Andre Drummond. That's your job.
Yeah, let him loose.
But Mo Bamba, though he doesn't bring some of the same tenacity in that regard, he brings a little bit more as it relates to a natural fit on offense.
His skill set.
His
mentality is a little questionable. For a guy who's like that big and with that wingspan, like if he was a dog,
yeah,
he really could unlock a lot of stuff. That's why I love Mo Bamba. Like I would love that fit Detroit, man. You have a guy. We go from not having any shot blockers, no size, to 7'1" with like, what does he have? Like an 8 foot nearly wingspan.
He might be the one, man.
Might be.
He might be the one.
But I'm curious. I've been seeing reports that he might go to the Knicks, and they're clearing cap space up. And he's from New York. He's from Isaiah. He's from that same area as Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah.
And I saw like he was on a live stream. I don't know what live stream it is. It's like a screenshot. And I don't know if it was Donovan Mitchell right after the postseason. I don't know what it was, but he just comments in the live stream on Instagram. He comments in the live stream. Small screenshot. It was like, come to New York. Come to New York. He's recruiting people to New York. He's not even signed yet. So like that part.
And you said who was?
Mo Bamba.
Okay.
So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, he really wants to go to New York.
He wants to go there.
Yeah. Like it depends though. If the price is right, maybe he'll come to Detroit.
I feel like that price is going to go up. If Mitchell Robinson's price has gone up since when we first started kind of looking at the free agents and the draft and all that.
And he can't stay healthy, Mitchell. So if Mo Bamba can stay healthy, and you know what I mean? It's price going to go up.
I'm telling you, it's that 3-point shooting with the potential that he could provide on the court with all his measurables and such, what he's already shown.
It's crazy, man.
It is crazy. As it relates to who we get, I believe Deandre Ayton is number 1. Depending on the price, obviously, I believe Mo Bamba is number 2 for me. But based on best value and number 3 on my big man free agency list, I got to go Andre Drummond. And honestly,
I agree with you there. All 3 of them.
The only way, obviously, Bagley, I don't believe that any of these individuals cancel out Bagley resigning.
No.
I believe these guys would complement. One would clearly be on the bench. The other one would be starting. Depending on who you have at Can Mo Bamba and Bagley coexist at the same time?
I think so, because he'll bring something. I mean, with Marvin, you're not getting defense. Like you're not getting Marvin isn't going to be your center. He's going to be your 4 because defensively, like he has the measurables, but it's just not there. I don't know if again it's a mindset thing. Because defense is mostly
it's a
mindset
certain lack
thing.
of tenacity. It's just even when he jumps for blocks, it just looks like the guy who knows I'm not blocking it. So I got to show my effort.
Put the hand up, like just straight up, or do the little wag at him. Yeah. That's why I could think they can coexist, man. Now you have a guy that you can flush guys to. Like you have Mo Bamba in the post. Like if Marvin gets beat, okay, you're running right into Mo Bamba, 8 foot Mo Bamba with a big ass wingspan.
What is your big man power ranking then, man?
I think I agree with you. Deandre Ayton, number one for me. Obviously, that's the only guy I'm giving big money to. And then after that, it'd probably be Mo Bamba just because of that upside, the age, the timeline. He fits everything. And then, like, for the third option, like, although you want Mitchell in there, but I'm just talking. this is me assuming he's asking for what he's asking for.
Right.
I'm going Andre Drummond.
I have to, too.
Yeah, I agree with your list.
For that price, for the value, for the things that he's saying, and I believe he's gearing up for it. Why would he even start doing these interviews? Now, look, we know he's never dropped his love for Detroit. He's still doing things in the community. He still gets back here. He still has a home here. You know, I believe his mom and sister are still in the area. So those things matter. They still have a good relationship with the organization. So it's what you stated. If he comes in with the right mindset, I believe value-wise, fit-wise, he can be an extreme value. Well, on some nights, you're like, yo, he got 20 and 20.
Yeah, you talk about lob threat. We're lacking a lob threat. Man,
he'll
Andre
present
to K to Andre. I mean, please, he's going to get easier shots, too. Like, people always talk about his efficiency numbers as a center. Like, if he's playing with playmakers, like Killian Cade.
Yeah, he didn't play with a good team.
No, he's forcing shots. I mean, you're basically just dumping it to Andre and saying, go get a bucket. Like, that's not – I don't think that's completely
He never
his
played
game.
with a team that had as dynamic a player as Cade Cunningham. He never has played with a team that's had –
Blake Griffin was – but still, Blake Griffin, it's like they're playing similar positions. Like, he never had a guard to – Reggie's nice.
Right, like what, Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond pick and rolls?
Yeah. It doesn't seem right.
It just doesn't seem right. It's just two big men who just sag. And they're like, I dare you to shoot, Blake. And he did for one season.
He was knocking him down.
And then they just kept letting him. And then it just was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good.
No, dude. It would be exciting. I would welcome Andre back.
So, yeah, I'm cool with that, man. I think we've covered a lot. I want you guys to let us know, what is your big man ranking for this summer? Yo, throw Marvin Bagley in there. I know that he's a 4. I believe he can coexist with a lot of these people that we have on here. Yeah. Andre Drummond, if they sign him, I don't believe that he stops their pursuit of a multi-talented big man that can start. I believe that he's somebody that if they don't find anybody, sure, but I don't know if he's necessarily who you want to be starting.
Or even if you draft like a rookie center, I think you can even put like, because I think Isaiah at the end of the day, he can end up being a 4. Like, if he can shoot, there's so much value for him. But if you draft a rookie center, and you still go get Andre Drummond, like that puts a
does Jaden Durn move the needle at all?
Like if they trade Jerami for that 7, they get Jaden Durn. I like Jaden Durn a lot. I really do. I think that's a guy that if you draft and you go and sign a Mo Bamba, whoever you're talking about, I think it's honestly better because you don't have to throw him in right away and just be like, all right, you're our defensive anchor. Go ahead and be like, you can kind of ease him into the role. So I have no problem doing it regardless if you get a center or not. Now it's tough because if you have Jalen Duren and Andre Drummond, you have 2 guys that can't shoot free throws and 2 guys that can't space the floor. So that's a tough one. But Troy will handle it, man. He'll figure out a way. It's so premature with free agency, but
cool, calm, and collected. Just
cool,
like Troy.
Calm, and collected.
That is what it's about. And look, y'all, we're gonna bring this to a close. Hey, tell us who you think the Pistons are going to draft. I believe tomorrow it will be Benedict Matherin. What do you think?
I'm going Jaden Ivey, but if he's gone, it's Benedict Matherin.
Yeah, I want Jaden Ivey, but I think I don't know, man.
You're being realistic.
Man,
that's the right mindset to be in.
Collected right now. I'll put him back on when we settle this. I think it's Benedict Matherin. Yeah,
put them back on. Put the confidence glasses. There you go.
There we go.
All right, I'll stick with Jaden Ivey just to differentiate.
Jaden Ivey. And we know that Rod said he actually was warming up to Benedict Matherin over Jaden Ivey, which was even a different scenario than either one of us have talked about.
Yeah.
Because we both think we would take Jaden Ivey if he's there at 5, but we believe he's not going to be there.
Right. Some team's going to trade up.
Also, let us know what you think is going to happen with Jerami Grant. Like we said, we've already heard about the Portland and the Atlanta interest. The Miami Heat one. Yep. That was a big one. And let us know, what's your big man ranking as it relates to who you're hoping the Pistons are targeting? I think we're both kind of in agreement. Deandre Ayton, Mo Bamba, then Andre Jordan, just above Mitchell Robinson because of the potential contract that these guys are going to command.
And would you guys sign Andre Drummond? Like we got to have this. We got to have this discussion.
Would you?
We
got to. We're going to talk about that more in the next pod.
Definitely.
We got to talk about Andre Drummond. We have to. And I know that Rod has a lot more insight. He has a lot more insight into who they are, into how Andre Drummond felt here, and into what would need to work. I know he talked about it before, and he said there is a way, but there are some things that have to be kind of smoothed over or whatever. Hey, let us know what you think. But, hey, for the Woodward Pistons Podcast, I'm Detroit Kool-Aid. It's Mr. Jeff, Freddie, Mr. Everything. Till next time, hey, and join us tomorrow. Yes. We're going to be back with our brother, Sean, from Half Court. We're going to be hosting the Woodward Pistons 2022 NBA Draft Show presented by Woodward Sports, and we can't look. It's gonna be crazy.
It is.
I don't know who's gonna show up. Lucky might show up. We don't know. The K Crusader might show up. We don't know. We don't know.
We can't give it away. You got to come find out.
Hey, we do have some guests. We're hoping that Mr. T. Foster's in the building. Hey, the legendary Foster.
The legend.
If Mr. Detroit News Rod Beer can give us his time tomorrow night, because he's in that tennis tournament where he's about to go in there and win number one. He's thinking he might live stream in from there. That would be dope. He might.
That would be sweet.
He said he'll let us know.
Yeah, don't give up. Let us know. That'd be sweet.
Hey, look, join us tomorrow night. We appreciate you all for rocking for us.